You're listening to the Hella Well with Danielle show, a podcast taking women of color on a journey exploring all things wellness and travel related. We're all about showing you how to put on your oxygen mask first and creating lasting self-care habits that will free you to travel the world and live the life you truly desire, and not one you have to fake loving. I'm your host, Danielle Washington. Now let's buckle up and start this journey. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Hella Well with Danielle podcast, your weekly mental vacation for the busy women from the daily grind who just needs a moment to pause, breathe, and woosah. I am your host, Danielle Washington, and this week I saw this interesting post on social media about being someone else's person. I was like, this conversation really used to hold a really big impact in my life. So in the post, the person says, in quotes, people like me don't have people. We are the people that other people have. This hit like a bullet. And I get it. And I was like, this is a conversation I think we need to have. But before we get started, I want to start off with a couple of announcements as well as doing our normal tuning in. If you haven't been following on Instagram, we started this month of August doing what I'm calling the August Breather, which is a month-long journey of us just breathing together. So every day in my Instagram stories on Hello Well with Danielle, I'm posting breathing exercises, tips, and just getting us to take a moment to pause from the noise, pause from being other people's people, to be able to pour into ourselves in 60 seconds or less. So I hope you can join me. There's no signups, there's no nothing. Honestly, it's just us taking a moment to breathe with each other and take a moment to just a mental vacation. It's our mini mental vacations. This podcast is a mental vacation. This is one where we're using our breath to create these mental vacations. So I hope that you will join me on that one. And in that note, let's get back to tuning in and getting ready for this conversation. So for today, I wanted us just to do this lion's breath. Like, I know Lionsgate is coming up. Lionsgate portal is coming up fairly soon. You're probably like, what are you talking about? I highly suggest you just look it up online. You see what I'm talking about. But I wanted us to do this lion's breath, which is a breath that's really good for waking us up and giving us some energy, but it's also good for the throat chakra. And it's just a powerful breath of just like boosting your confidence. So if you can, I invite you to get in a space where you're sitting up super tall, so your lungs can be fully expanded when you do this. And you're going to stick out your tongue, and then you're going to just breathe in and out of your mouth forcefully with your tongue out. So it sounds something like this. I'm sure I should do a visual of this, but I'll do one online. So by the time this is posted, I think later on this week, it will show lion's breath. So let me go ahead and do this for you right now. Here we go. So you're going to stick your tongue out, and we're going to begin to inhale and exhale. I know this sounds like I'm totally doing like the stalker breathing, but my tongue is out and I'm breathing. So to avoid us sounding too crazy, I want you just to pause this recording, do it a couple of times, and just see how that feels. And then take a moment just to be still and see how your body's showing up. Do you feel any different? And then come back to this recording. So if you're coming back right now, great. Thank you for coming back and join this. Or if you decided you're going to try this afterwards, that's cool too. But lion's breath is great, great, great. I just wanted to give it to us because I feel like this was the time of the year to really get that energy going, but also for us to be able to boost that confidence and awaken ourselves and our bodies. All right, back to the post. The conversation was, the post stated, people like me don't have people. We are the people that people have. That hit like a bullet. And let's be honest, that used to hella hit me like a bullet. Like at one point in time in my life, that was like shots have been fired. I'm in the ER. I'm in the ER. I was that girl. And I didn't realize that in these moments of me being someone else's person, I low-key, well, I didn't realize it. That's me not being honest. I'm going to be honest. I did realize I was low-key and sometimes not so low-key resentful. I was resentful, but at the same time, I enjoyed being someone else's person, all at the same time. So it felt odd. Like, it felt uncomfortably odd, because at one side of me was like, I love being someone else's person. I love giving. I love being able to help people. I feel like a huge part of my mission in life is to be a resource to people, to be of service. But at the same time, the other side of me was like, I'm angry. I'm annoyed. Like, I feel exhausted and drained. I think the part that made me feel resentful was that I was often felt frustrated. I often felt tired. I often felt depleted as I was doing this. And my head was like, well, can't people tell that I'm depleted? Can't people tell that I don't have the space, that I don't have the energy to do this? And those were the conversations that were going on in my head. At the same time, I was like, oh my God, I love this. I love this. I love this. And oh my God, I hate this. I love this. I hate this. I love this. I hate this. And I was a hot mess internally, because all this is going on in my head. All this is part of my internal dialogue of feeling so mixed up about all this stuff. And then I had to ask myself, well, who said you had to be everyone else's person? Who decided that you were, you decided. You decided. You made the conscious choice willingly to be other people's people. Each time you were someone else's person, you willingly made the choice to say, hey, I'm signing up. I'm ready to be that person. And that felt like its own bullet right there. It felt like its own trigger right there. That realization that I was the one who put me in this situation. So me feeling jealous that, someone else had another person, me feeling like that I felt like I didn't have my own person. That was the other side of this whole situation, was like, where was my person? Like, I was so busy being everyone else's person. So when I wanted to have my person, I'm like, well, where is someone? No one's there for me. And I felt jealous that people had a person and I didn't have a person. And it wasn't from a lack of trying. I definitely tried to get someone to be my person. But oftentimes I felt let down. I felt betrayed. I'm like, they're not showing up the way I would show up for people. And I felt mad and frustrated. And again, it goes back to that realization. I'm like, who put me in all these roles? And it was me. I was the one who made the conscious choice all along. I wasn't being forced to be someone's person. I wasn't forced to do things and be there when I felt drained and depleted of all my energy. I had made that conscious choice. Shots fired once again when I made that realization. And when I made that realization that I was consciously making the choice, that I had willingly put myself in those positions, I had to ask myself some tough questions. I didn't have to ask myself some tough questions. I'll be the first one to say that. I didn't have to, but I felt like I was in a space at a point in my life where I was like, okay, I feel the trigger. I see it. I can sit here on the surface and be cool with, oh, that don't feel good. Oh, that sucks. Or I can continue the work and dig a little bit deeper to ask myself those tough questions. And so I did. I asked myself, well, okay, why are you constantly choosing to play this role? Why do you sign up? Why do you do it? What is this role fulfilling in your life? Is it validation? Is it self-worth? Something else? Love? Like, what is it filling? And I kept digging and asking myself more and more questions until I got to my answer. And it wasn't what I was expecting it to be, but it was my truth. It was my truth that it was part of my validation. I felt worthy. I felt of value. I felt like I had a place in this world when I can say, "Do you look at all these people? I am so many people's people. Look how much the capacity I can hold. Look how I'm helping so many people. Like, you must love me. You must finally deem me worthy because all these other people see me worthy enough to have me be their person." Yeah, even saying it right now, it feels triggering. It feels triggering to know that there was a part of my life that I needed this. I needed this so bad this is what kept me alive. This is what kept me from not wanting to end my life, from being so many people's people. Breathe in on that one. Just take a moment to breathe in and out. Sometimes even talking about past triggers can be triggering, and it's important to, when you have those moments, I like to put my hand on my chest, but I also like to just take moments to pause and breathe through some of these moments. So I digged and I got my answers, and it taught me invaluable lessons of self-discovery from this spot in my healing journey. I say this spot in my healing journey because this was just one little destination on this long trip that we are all taking on our own, sometime at the same time, sometime on the same path, but this was one stop on my healing journey of self-discovery and of awareness, and I was starting to begin to understand the reasons behind my choices and how they shaped my relationships. I realized that on the side of me being mad and jealous and feeling betrayed of, feeling like no one was there for me, no one was my person, I was realizing I was setting unrealistic expectations for people to show up the way I was showing up for others. And even more so, I was expecting them to show up the way I was showing up for others without telling them what my needs were, without telling them that I have needs too. Like, yeah, I may love and openly share how much it feel good about being there for other people. What I was not expressing was how I needed support. How, yeah, I'm strong, but strong friends need help too. Strong friends need support too. Everyone needs support. Strong, weak, random, green, we all need that support. We all need someone. We all need to feel like we have that person to, oh my God, the song's in my head, lean on me. But seriously, we all need to feel like we have someone we can lean on, that we can count on, that sees us, that can be there. We all need that. And me not being able to verbalize my needs was me causing myself to, not get what I needed. I also realized, and a valuable lesson was that everything is a choice. Everything is a choice. Every time I chose to willingly, whether it's subconscious or conscious, I still chose to be someone else's person. Every time I chose that was a choice. And sometimes I made those choices that were actively choosing to self-sabotage, because I was saying yes when my mind and body were like, girlfriend, honey, boo-boo, what are you doing? You don't have the time, you don't have the space, you don't have the energy. We aren't girl, what are you doing? But my mouth be like, oh yeah, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I also learned that I needed to figure out how to love and see value in me outside of people. How could I pour into myself? How can I make myself feel loved, feel validated, feel worthy without the external forces? I had to learn to set boundaries and prioritize my needs and my well-being. And tapping in to see if I even had the capacity was like totally key. Like I have two friends who are bomb people, coaches in capacity, Nicole Rohn and Jatia Jones. If you don't know them, you should definitely be following them. But like they talk about capacity all the time. And so I had to tap into when I had these moments of people like wanting to say yes, even when people didn't ask me, because I would volunteer to be like, no, pick me. Like, you may not know it, but you need me as your person. And I would do this whole campaign of why you needed me to be your person. So nowadays, I tap in to see if I even have the capacity before I offer myself. And what helps me the most with this is taking breathers. That's why the August breather challenge is so important. That's why breathing is so important. So because before I start saying yes to something, I sometimes now take a moment to pause. I don't do it all the time because I'm not perfect by any means necessary, but I'm pausing more to see, okay, let's listen to the voices within the body. Do I have capacity to take on this role? Do I have capacity to choose this role? And sometimes the answer is, no, girl, you don't. And I have to be okay with that. And as we wind down today's episode, I wanted to leave you with a few thoughts. Like we talked about my personal experiences and lessons and the journey. I wanted you to get that this process is all about introspection. This is about going within. And this process of going within is universal. It's not just a me story. This is for all of us, including that person who wrote the post of saying this hit like a bullet. I hope that, I may just give this to this person. They may be like, girl, why did you do this post? But I'm just like, I feel like it hit like a bullet is a surface moment. And it's easy to stay on the surface. And that's what I did for so many years. But when we're able to dig a little deeper, that's when the healing happens. That's when the aha moments happen. When we've all have assumed roles and expectations we've set in the past we've taken, and sometimes without fully realizing what we're doing, not fully realizing that we're making a choice. Like my journey taught me the valuable lesson of prioritizing my well-being. It isn't easy to arrive to this realization. And like for a long time, as I said before, I had been lost in the cycle of being there for others while neglecting my own needs. But the truth is, we can't pour from an empty cup. We can't be there for others if we can't be there for ourselves first. Goes back to the whole oxygen mask on a plane, putting your oxygen mask on first. We need to be able to recharge, to refuel, to replenish ourselves so we can show up as our best version of ourselves for the people in our lives. I'm not saying don't be there for people. I'm saying find smarter ways that also pours into you and it honors your well-being while being there for other people. Setting boundaries, practicing self-care, expressing our needs, taking moments to breathe and pause and check in on your capacity. All these are not signs of being selfish. All these are signs of honoring yourself, your body, and your own needs. They're acts of self-love and self-respect. When we take care of ourselves, we cultivate a stronger, healthier foundation from which we're able to build and nurture our relationships. And these relationships that are so important to us, that we sometimes forget our self-worth, we forget our self-care. These relationships, these authentic connections that we're forming, they're not about being dependent on another person. They're not about expecting others to fulfill our cups. They're about mutual respect and understanding and support. They're about showing up for each other. But also about recognizing and respecting when we need to show up for ourselves. So as I kind of end today's podcast episode, I want to encourage you to look inward. And start asking yourself some tough questions when triggers happen, especially when it comes up to the ideal of being someone else's person. Evaluate your roles that you're taking on and the expectations you're setting. Are you prioritizing your well-being? Why are you taking this role on? Why do you see yourself taking on this role more so than you feel like you want to? And how does it make you feel? Are you nurturing your authentic connections? And if not, please remember, it's never too late to start. I didn't get this at 16. I didn't get this at 20. Didn't get this at 30. And I kind of didn't get it at 40 either. Got a little bit later on in life. And it's okay. It's okay. It's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to choose yourself. It's never too late to bet on you, to prioritize your needs, to cultivate a healthier, more fulfilling relationships. Until next time, remember this: you matter, your well-being matters, you are worthy of care, of love, and respect. You are worthy of the saying no. And you can be there for others. But please, 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 please don't forget to be there for yourself too. Thank you for joining me on this stop in our healing journey, and I will see you next week. And if I don't see you earlier, joining me on the Instagram stories for the August breather. Other than that, I'll talk to you next week. Ciao.